I consider this is a very exciting era to study marketing, actually. So I moved back to China after I lived in the United States for 20 years. So this is my third year working at CEIBS as a marketing professor. So every time I speak with people from outside China, right, so from the rest of the world, they always ask me two questions. So the first question is, what is unique in Chinese marketing? And then the second question is, what can the rest of the world learn from China practice, right? What is unique? What is more common, or what may represent the trend? So the way I look, so those are the two questions that I ask myself every day because I want to stay relevant, not only for Chinese marketing, but also for the world practice of marketing. So I consider there are three new trends that are very prominent nowadays. So the first trend is the transition from a bigger screen marketing to small screen marketing. So what I mean is this, right? So marketing, by the end of the day, is a discipline about consumers, about users, right? So you need to really look for where consumers spend their time. So consumers used to spend time on bigger screens, on TV sets, right? On your desktop. But now the world is changing. So consumers increasingly spend time on smaller screen, on your mobile device, on your smartphone, etc. So then, so the marketing money, right, also follow where the attention is. So I think marketing nowadays has changed from a bigger screen marketing, TV advertising, and then website search engine advertising, to small screen marketing, which is social media advertising, influencer marketing, and also in China, live streaming marketing. So video marketing. So you heard TikTok, you hear in China it's called Douyin, right? So you hear the rise of these social media platforms nowadays. Yeah. So that's the first trend, moving from a bigger screen marketing to smaller screen marketing. I think this trend is unavoidable. Okay. So the second trend that I consider is what everybody else is talking about, the AI. So by the end of the day, so marketing is about communicating the value with consumers, right? And AI changes how people take information and then generate information. So from that perspective, I think marketing will be transformed fundamentally by AI technology. It's more than just using AI to generate content. And also, you're going to use AI to understand the consumer better. You will use AI to communicate information with consumers better. And then by the end of the day, consumer will form expectation. So they expect the business, the brands, to know better of them because of AI technology. So that's the second trend, AI. And the third trend actually is, I think marketing will be integrated with other departments within an organization. So let me explain this a little bit further. I think many people probably haven't realized that. So it used to be the case that within an organization, you have a marketing department and you have a sales department, and then you have production, etc., right? So we tend to think, oh, marketers are only in charge of marketing and salespeople are in charge of selling, etc. However, with a smaller screen marketing, with social media marketing, so the marketing job will be decentralized. So essentially, every employee within an organization can potentially become a marketer on behalf of the organization. So I think the marketing job will be done by even the CEO, right? Not only the CMO, the CEO, but also potentially every employee in the organization. And this trend has already started in China. So if you go to the Chinese, offline retailers, right, retailer store, you will see that sometimes the salespeople are interacting with consumer, and when they're not busy, they're doing live streaming online. So they're trying to integrating the online, marketing versus the offline retailing. So I think that trend is going to be more widespread and beyond just Chinese practice. So I think it takes two steps. The first step is to embrace the new trend, right? Because I can sense there is still some degree of resistance, right? So one question I receive all the time is, why is influencer marketing so popular in China as if it's a Chinese thing? It is not. I think China is just a little bit step up ahead of the time in terms of smaller screen advertising. So China is very interesting because after China joined the WTO, the country basically leapfrogged from no internet to a mobile world, right? So we did not have a phase of internet, development. So from that sense, right? So we didn't have the opportunity to develop the big screen marketing. So I think if you look around many parts of the world, right? So they are transitioned into the mobile world, right? Rather than just rely on the internet using your laptop or the desktop. So from that perspective, I think for the marketers who are used to the traditional or classic way of doing marketing, you need to embrace and acknowledge that younger people, they interact with the internet in a very different way. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then the second thing is it's always learning by doing. So right now, I think digital marketing is going to be a little bit more localized in the sense that every country will develop its own practice, develop its own framework and its own best practice in terms of interacting people, finding people, retaining people, using social media. So I think for the CMOs who want to know these new techniques, right, you need to learn from people who have already, learned, spent time, developed best practice. So it's a learning by doing process. Yeah, it's very hard to learn these in a classroom, I would say. The best way probably is to interact with a group of people and then to get started right away. So CIPS is an international business school. One of the reasons I decided to return is because I want to stay international. So I'm fascinated about the culture similarities and differences all over the world, right? So when I think about a different country, the first thing I think about is, the language is different, right? The cuisine is different, and then the culture is different. But nowadays, there is another concept that's increasingly attracted my attention. That is the difference in digital landscape. Okay, so if you go to a new market, you realize that you need a different app to call Uber. It may not be called Uber in that country, right? You have a different digital payment system. You have a different, hotel booking system, right? So, so for people who go to China, the first time they realize that language barrier is easy to overcome because you have Google Translation, but it's the digital gap that's actually very hard to overcome nowadays. So digital marketing, especially, this is particularly relevant for digital marketing because digital marketing basically means that the marketing money and the marketing practice happen in a digital landscape, right? So for brands, for business that go to overseas market, the first thing you realize is you need to learn is where do people spend time and how do they interact with different digital apps. So I think for international brands that come to China, this probably will be the first lesson that they need to spend their time on to understand how Chinese people make decisions, right, digitally, how they spend time digitally, how they spend money digitally. Yeah. So I think the cultural difference nowadays probably is second in terms of importance, following the digital difference. Yeah. There is one word that just comes to the marketing professions all the time, that is technology. I don't think that word used to be this important, right? So if there is one thing I think marketers have to really brush their skills on, that's embrace technology and then realize how technology has and will transform, has transformed and will be transforming marketing in a very dramatic way. I want to say two things actually related to the next big thing because I think there is a very famous metaphor, right, saying that the economy may change like weather, it changes every day. You need to stay to something that's relatively more constant. So in my mind, as a marketer, I think what's constant is consumer, right? So it's people, so user. So I think it's very important for business professions to master the skills to generate user insights. You need to understand users better. You need to understand their true needs. You need to solve the true questions, true problems that they have. So user is definitely the first keyword, right? So everything needs to be centered around user-centric design or user-centric business. And then the second word, of course, will be, guess it, technology. So I think nowadays we have been using new set of technology to better meet the consumer needs. So the consumer needs are the cause, and then the technology will be the tools that can help us achieve the goals better. Yeah. So I would say stay honest, right? Stay truthful to consumer needs, but then find the best set of tools to help you achieve that goal.